welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. I guess I don't know. Well, we'll see. Clobberin Times issue number 51, but really, of course, 751. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. I am looking forward to talking to my amazing guests that I have with me. I want to thank Liz. Well, I got a lot of people to thank, and I just want to thank the wonderful Raquel Briggs and I. We are going to be starting. We'll be making an announcement this Saturday night about how we're going to be doing a regular Star Trek show starting in January. The two of us, because we've had so much fun with those Trek shows, and she informs me that we were getting a lot of traction with those, and a lot of people are that I didn't know. She's kind of. It just happened behind my back. People are starting to listen to that all over the place for some reason. And we had some long streams, but she's wonderful. And we have a wonderful time talking Trek. So we'll be doing that. A lot of comic stuff coming up tomorrow. I'll be doing a live stream with some of my Brit buddies. So it'll be in the daytime about the wonderful show that I love, Blake 7. Because I don't get much of a chance to talk about that often. So my buddy Problem Being will be joining me for that again. And let's see. Oh, and then tomorrow night, I have a proud regular on for the past couple months now, regular on the great Stone Loki's Tuesday night show, Tuesday nights 7 Kinds of Mischief, and I thank him so much for this wonderful intro he made for me, bro. You've been so good to me since I've been here, man. I've made so many fantastic friends since I have moved from BTR to YouTube. I should have done it a long time ago. And I had too much gumbo yesterday, but I'm going to try to survive it because that's too Louisiana of me, I know. But there are a lot of things going on out there, and I've been doing Mondays a bit. This is earlier than we usually do. And I was wanted to start doing it a little bit earlier. Fixating on a good time for these streams, I don't know. That's kind of been a problem with me, so I'll figure it out. But I want to say thank you for the pals who have popped in early there. The great Mark C, my. Yes, he is a regular, of course. We do a lot of shows together. We're planning on one soon. We do a lot of comics stuff together. And buddy, thank you for popping in. The great Eric K. He says he is listening on the road. Oh, that's right. Dude, you went to Vegas for the big Gary meeting, even though the Gary couldn't make it. Man, damn you. I hope you had a good time. I hope you all had a great time. A lot of good YouTubers went out to that one from what I hear. The extraordinary Master of Wrenches, Eric K. And the extraordinary Master of Wrenches, Chris Perza. Chris, hey, buddy. I always appreciate you being here. My great fellow Blake 7 and Legion of Superheroes fan, Lord Thoth, is here. Hey, buddy. Thank you for popping in. Thank everyone for being here. I know more will trickle in later. But I have a fantastic guest with me tonight. She's been with me a couple times before. And you, Steph, are my go-to.
Hello.
Star Wars informant.
Hello. How you doing? How's
hey.
There's a lot going on as far as new shows. They did the investors meeting, and Kathleen Kennedy went out, I think, under duress. I was watching her going, you don't want to be there, do you?
Like a hostage.
She did. She looked like a hostage. And she announced a bunch of shows. And here's the thing that, if you haven't heard it, yes, Hayden Christensen is coming back to play Anakin Vader in Obi-Wan and maybe Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka too. So that was big news. And I was very happy to hear that because A, I love Hayden. B, Anakin is my second favorite male character in Star Wars. I absolutely love Anakin. And I love that. I love his story. So that was good to hear. But there's a lot going on, and I want to address something. I no longer talk about rumors. Is she staying or leaving? Because I'm sick and tired of getting my hopes up, and then 3 weeks later, somebody will go, "Well, I just heard from my secret squirrel informants that she's." It's like, shut up! Don't say anything. I'm so sick of it. And I get really mad. I really am done with it. So, when this is my take, I don't think she's got any power. I think that part is true. Because Hayden won't be back. She hates him. She does not want him back. She does not want any of that legacy prequel stuff around. Okay. But you can't do an Obi-Wan Kenobi show if they're doing one without some flashback to Anakin. Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
You can't. you know, I looked at her and thought, there's nobody in charge of Lucasfilm.
Hmm.
Think about it.
Wow.
Well, you know, some people say, well, she's the president. And
Lame duck.
what does that mean, really, right now? You know, in the Pirates and Princesses blog, where their one informant saying that, well, you know, because she's doing so well with Mandalorian, and I was just like, everybody at Lucasfilm, everybody at Disney, everybody in Hollywood, which isn't that big of a town, knows she has absolutely got nothing to do with Mandalorian. Okay, oh, and by the way, to the people out there screaming about her name's on it, being an executive producer is meaningless. Okay, you know, J.J. Abrams was executive producer on TLJ. Well, we all know what he thought about TLJ, right? He had nothing to do with making that movie. Okay, so when people start screaming that, they're looking for something to yell about. And I am at a point where I am done. She's either there or she's not right now. You know, regardless of what her real position is, she was the one out there, you know, that dragged her out and pushed her out in front of the camera. And she's said her monologue and they dragged her back out. You know, that's it. We can't really tell what's going on.
Yeah.
She's got 2 shows for sure. The Leslie Headland thing, which, you know, I'm wrong all the time, but if they actually get that and start rolling film, I'm gonna be like, oh, you've got to be fucking kidding. And of course, that this book that was optioned by Fox, that she took over the option, which looked to me at the time that she grabbed it so she'd have something to work on for her new movie studio. And now this COVID thing, which is something everybody forgets, there's a reason why she can't find a position right now. No one's hiring executives like that. COVID, and they're buckling down, and also they're restructuring for streaming. So people with her abilities aren't really wanted right now. So she's stuck. She can either stay and pretend like she's got something to do and pretend to be important, or she can leave. You know?
Yeah.
You'd think she's almost 70 years old. She'd want to kick back and take it easy.
Yeah.
You know,
one would think, yeah, but ego, I guess. I don't know.
No. So my thing is, I'm looking at the 3, and I'm going to agree with Doomcock on this and some other people. The Ahsoka thing with the Veil of the Force was interesting. Then you've got Rangers of the New Alliance of the New Republic.
Yeah.
And I think you've got one with Bo-Katan and Mandalorian. And the feeling is they're all going to mesh together because they're going to mix, you know, into each other a little bit. They're all going to mesh together in one big climax. And I really do think, and I know I'm going to call out Stephen Wainwright. I do think they are going to retcon the ST. That's what it looks like to me. Because, and here's the deal, and a lot of other people noticed it too. Where's the show about Finn? Where's the show about Poe?
Yeah.
Where's the show about Ray, the bestest of all?
The Amazing Wonder Ray.
Yeah. Where's the show about Kyle Ren and Daddy Butcher?
I don't know where they are.
They didn't touch them.
They're in limbo.
But, you know,
nowhere.
I was like, they're just affirming the sequel trilogy. They're not doing that at all. You know, I don't. And I think people are looking for something to be upset. I really, really do. And it's like, you know, I follow on trying to read what's really going on. And there are times I've just given up and said, fuck it. I'm sorry for swearing.
It's okay. No problem here.
But, you know, if I don't see them doing this, and this for the sequel trilogy, they're not doing the sequel trilogy. And, oh, by the way, all the shows I listed, Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, Rangers of the New Republic, and Mandalorian, they're all under the purview, I think, of Jon Favreau. Okay,
Wow.
I think. I know Ahsoka is going to be Dave Filoni's baby. But I want to tell people this. You're all concentrating on Dave Filoni.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that. Yeah.
He's not the one in charge, and he'll never be in charge. He wouldn't know what to do with himself. Have you ever seen him interviewed?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, dude, whatever. He's not a leader. Jon Favreau is. He is.
Yeah,
and
right.
I think he's the one that's doing this. And I don't really think that Kennedy has anything to say about it. I really, really don't. And I'm affirming some of the stuff that Doomcock said. But when I watched her, I'm not a body language expert, but why would, I'm looking at her going, you hate this. You hate this. The only time she looked a little bit energized was when she was talking about Indy 5.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a whole nother conversation. So
sure. I didn't see that one.
Yeah. She looked a little bit energized. And I think the reason why is because that's one positive, because there's a certain person coming back, and that's Harrison Ford. And Indy is always, with him in the driver's seat, is always going to be a place of interest for people.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, but I'm loving where Mandalorian is going this year. I don't know if you watched the last episode, but Bill Burr was fantastic.
That's so far my favorite episode of all of them. And,
yeah,
I'm one who just sort of kind of likes the show in a casual way, but I do like it. And that episode, wow. I mean, especially that performance by him.
Yeah, he was. That if that had been a movie, that would have been an Academy Award-winning performance.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
especially when he takes the cannon and blows that whole thing up, and then turns around and says, "Everyone needs to sleep better at night." And that way he did it, it's like, holy shit.
That was so good. I mean, I was just blown away because I like Bill Burr fine, but I didn't. I think my son turned to me when we were watching it. He's a big fan of him and a lot of other comedians. He looked and said, "Who knew Bill Burr could be that good an actor?" I didn't know.
Well, I gotta tell you, if comedians are very good actors,
yeah, it's true.
Comedy is the hardest thing to do. It really is, and Robin Williams and Whoopi Goldberg and all of those guys are really good actors.
That's true. That is true.
John Candy, I just wistfully think, God, I miss you, man.
Well, so do I.
Robin Williams too.
Brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant, very damaged man. But and it's sad, but so that was, I'm all for it. And then at the end, where basically Mando says, "I want what you took from me," that was like,
yeah, yep. That was wow. It got me hyped up for the next one. I just hope the next one is longer than like a half hour or something like that. I hope we get a lot more.
Well, it's the last one, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's what I'm hoping. It's more than just like a half hour. We're gonna need a little bit more if you're gonna.
It's got to be about an hour long.
I really hope so.
I want to go on a mission and just like run with it.
Absolutely.
The first one where at the very end, the first one this year, at the very end where you see Tamara Morrison, and it's like Boba Fett, and I hate him. But
the actor, you mean, or you hate Boba Fett? Yeah. I was never the big Boba Fettish kind of guy either. I mean, it's
It was, but it was so like they're finally getting things, and they're doing things the right way. And I'm trying to figure out what Jedi is going to be searching for him.
You think maybe we'll get a reveal?
Well, I always thought it would be really cool to see a shadowy figure meditating, and all of a sudden you see their eyes open.
And then you got to wait till next year to find out. Oh, Luke. Well, oh man, yeah.
I'd be like,
yes, that's what it should be.
I mean, I would love if the Razor Crest was still there. Solo's reaction. If I ever hear you call the Falcon a hunk of junk again, I swear.
Well, even though Lando called it that.
Yeah. I mean, then there's the Razor Crest, and it's like, there you go. Piece of shit. Oh my god. But no, I mean, it would. That stuff would just be. I mean, but there's all kinds of things just to give us a taste of fixing what they broke. They don't have to show it until the very end. The world between worlds and killing Palpatine or whatever the theory is. But they don't have to show much. Just showing, and what would really be great is if we get to a point where Solo shows up with Leia, and instead of one kid, there's two or three. And then it'd be, fuck you.
I'd be for that. I don't think you get too many arguments about that.
Oh God, could you imagine? Jaina and Jason and Anakin just both looking at Boba Fett like, and Han going, "You come near my family and you're dead." And Boba Fett saying, "I Solo, our business was concluded a long time ago. I bear no ill will to you or your family."
Yeah.
And Han saying, "You better remember that." That would be a really cool scene, wouldn't it?
Work for me. Oh my God. Works for me. I think we do know that Favreau agrees with us, and I mean, I don't know how. I don't know. I've never met him. I just get the feeling he doesn't like that garbage.
That
new garbage.
Did you ever see the movie Swingers?
I know of it. I don't think I ever saw it all, but I know of it.
Right. It's him and Vince Vaughn, who is one
of
them. And it's about a comedian in Los Angeles. He lost his girlfriend, and I mean, he lives in a shitty apartment. And it's about how guys, they're not the end of the entertainment industry. They're struggling, but it's about how they live, and it's really, really, really good. My husband thinks it's stupid, but I love it, and it's like it's really, I mean, it's really, really, really good. And Vince Vaughn was tall and very skinny at the time.
I remember seeing things from it, but I've never seen it or all of it.
It's and watching it, it's like, this guy's actually a real guy. He's all boy, and I think in order for someone to do Star Wars right, and they almost have to have a guy like that,
Yeah.
And I think that he went right. When he got the chance to do Mandalorian, he went right to Lucas, and Disney didn't have a choice. And if they lose him, they're done. Star Wars is dead.
Indeed.
Filoni isn't enough.
No, not at all.
But when people start screaming about him, Chewbacca, and everybody else, I'm like,
yeah, there are people that don't like it. I mean, it doesn't bother me that people don't like it, but
they give him too much power. He doesn't.
But giving him power, yeah.
And it's
he's
like
nothing.
He doesn't have that power. So why are we?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I get a little frustrated with that because I'm trying to figure out where everything's going, and the emotions, I think, to carry people away. And I've let that back in the past. I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I really can't. I was telling another friend yesterday or on Saturday that you're not going to hear me doing any more rumors as she's staying or going or what's going on, until it actually really happens for sure. Because it is eventually going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think she's going to be there till Indy 5 is done.
Wow.
And then I think it's done.
Sounds possible, yeah.
I don't know why they need her.
They don't. They're just not. Nobody needs her.
That's not up for me to decide. And I've got theories about her and several people male figures in Hollywood, and I think that she's got an anger issue about the men that she's dealt with. I don't know about what everybody else thinks, but back in the late 70s when she got there, she was John Milius' secretary, which I would be like, I would love to do that.
Wow.
Yes. His daughter did a documentary about Donald Trump called, I can't remember what it's called. It's about it's about the Russia hoax, and Devin Nunez is part of it. It's really, really good.
Wow.
But Amanda is a peach. She's a great kid. John Milius is a genius. He wrote and directed The Wind and the Lion. He wrote Apocalypse Now. He wrote the script. He wrote the original and directed Red Dawn, Conan the Barbarian.
One of my favorites. I love that movie.
All of these things. He's one of the, when they were all coming up, it was Milius, Spielberg, and Lucas. I mean, they hung out. They were like this together. And he's just, he's a board member of the NRA. He's just a great guy. And, so she worked for him first. And then Spielberg hired her. And somehow she ended up not being a secretary, but being a producer. And I go, how did that happen? Then you kind of wonder.
Yeah.
Who did she blow? I'm serious.
I believe you. No, I believe you.
And then, she starts working on Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I think of, did she hit on Harrison Ford? Think about it. She met her husband on the set of that movie, by the way. But, if you're looking to make the next step, you're looking for the big cheese on the thing. And back then, that's what women did. And she has, this is why I look at her going, you're so full of shit. You screwed your way to the top, and everybody knows it. She gets all these, she's such a great feminist. I'm like, really? I guarantee you there are stories. And I guarantee you she's got secrets on people. Do you remember the movie The Twilight Zone?
Yes. You talk about the John Landis, from '83. Yes, very well. Joe Dante, Spielberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember it very well.
Do you remember what happened to Vic Morrow in this case?
Oh, I do indeed. I remember seeing it. They ran it over and over again on CNN. I mean, pretty graphic too. They ran that video a lot back then.
Yep. Well, she probably knows who was on the set that night. They were overworked. They were all coked out. And she knows who's on the set that night. But I'm like going, I don't think people would care as much about that. But there's a lot of other things that are there, rumors out there. They're a bit sketchy about things. And I'm like, she's got something on somebody, because
oh god, yeah,
she's not a talented person.
No,
I mean, she's not. So her being where she is and being stuck where she is, it's like she did it to herself. Disney did it to itself. They should have fired her 2 years ago, when they had a chance, and just whatever, did an interim leader of Lucasfilm while they were trying to figure out what the F they were doing. But they're now behind the 8 ball with her.
Yeah. Well, at least she's ineffectual now, like you were saying. So that's something.
I think she is. I don't know what everybody else is saying. I don't know what Doomcock is saying. I don't know what Midnight's Edge is saying. I don't know what Clownfish TV is saying. But just watching her, if you watch her whole thing, it's like she don't want to be there. She hates all this. There are only 2 things for sure that she's attached to, and probably Cassian Andor, and maybe the Lando thing, because of who's writing it. and putting the Lando thing together. She wrote Dear White People.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not going to last very long.
No.
But you know, there's really a split in Lucasfilm, and you can see it on the shows that were offered. So I'm kind of sitting here going, okay, Kathleen, whatever. You know, and she still has the High Republic shit coming, and no one wants that. I mean, Twitter mocks those people incessantly.
Yeah.
I mean, Avar Chris, the light of the Jedi.
It's a garbage.
It is. It's garbage. It's
total trash. Nobody wants that crap.
No, and they're insisting on. It's like Disney. You're already $100 billion in debt. Gavin Newsom wouldn't let you open Disneyland if Jesus Christ himself told him he had to. You guys are screwed. And you're still publishing this shit? You're still paying these authors? Why? I don't get it. They just get, that's the part of Lucasfilm that doesn't get it. And that's Kathlene's part.
Tone deaf. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the Pablo Hidalgo part. Did you ever have any run-ins with Pablo?
No, I have not. I've heard you talk about him on many of your videos.
God, a loser.
Yeah, total scumbag.
Now he's running away from having to talk to people online. So he's hiding on Twitter. It's like, look, dude, Disney is basically, in my opinion, not laying off the right people. They're laying off the wrong people.
Yeah.
That whole Lucasfilm story group, and I mean the people that are there working, not the authors they contract, should be gone. They should just be gone. You want to save money? Pablo makes a pretty hefty salary from what I heard too. And your biggest expense is payroll. So, I just go, why is he still there? And I wait. Just, So anyway, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I think COVID is changing a lot of things. And despite what's going on in the world of politics, there's a definite shift to the right. A definite shift to just good entertainment. And when they're not giving us that, they're unsuccessful. So anyway.
Some of them are, you think at least some of them are waking up to the reality that there are customers out there that don't like this trash?
Oh yeah, I think Jon Favreau knew that right away.
Yeah.
I can't say that Kennedy knew or cared.
She doesn't care.
No, she don't care.
She gets paid. She don't care.
I mean, she thinks money grows on trees.
Yeah.
They'll always fund my project.
Yeah.
No, that's not how it works. So yeah, I don't know what to think about a lot of this. About what's going on. But yeah, I mean, the film industry is changing after what's going on with Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Disney is now thinking about doing the same thing. I'm like, I don't know anymore. I just don't know. And I'm going to like what I like and hope for the best. I mean, I think for a Star Wars fan, that's what you got to do. And I'm going to tell you something. If you like The Mandalorian, but you've got somebody who's anti-Disney, and no one's more anti-Disney than me.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe in the carrot and stick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And if they do something good, they should be praised. If they do something shitty, they should be kicked in the ass. Just, that's a natural thing, right? Okay, so if you've got people telling you you're not a Star Wars fan, they destroyed George Lucas's life work, la la la, ignore them. You have the right to like Mandalorian. And if they're telling you George Lucas didn't have anything to do with Mandalorian, there's a reason why he's a second writer listed on IMDb. Now, I've had people who tell me they have contacts saying, well, that's just a formality. It's like, yes, he wants his name up there as a formality. Give me a break. If George Lucas didn't want to have his name up there, it wouldn't be there. It's George Lucas. And you're watching The Mandalorian, and you can see he's part of it. From the way it looks, the way it feels, the names of the characters, the really, really good effects that feel like Star Wars. The name of Grogu, for crying out loud. George Lucas. You get rid of the E's, you have Grow. You get rid of the L, the C, the A, and the S, you get Grogu. Okay. I was like, oh my God, when I saw that. I mean, now I might be wrong on that, but it's kind of weird that they come up with that name. And it's those, it's letters that are out of his name. So, I mean, let me read this. Oh, Mark, baby. I mean, I don't, to be honest, I don't think that show's ever going to see the light of day. What Kennedy did when she signed her was such an underhanded thing that I can't believe. I look at that and go, they can't. They absolutely can't do that. I mean, and the Children of Blood and Bone. I mean, I did some research into that. It's anti-cop.
Oh,
Whitey hating. It's Whitey hating. If you turned the bad guys into Jews and the good guys into blonde, white Aryans, it could be written by a Nazi. I mean, that's as bad as how bad it is. I'm not kidding you. Yes, I said that. Yes, I said that.
I believe you. It's horrible. We know who's doing it, so it doesn't surprise me.
But I don't see them paying money for that either. It's like, but Cassie and Andor, does anybody want that?
Yeah, that's look, I mean, if even that, if I'm sitting around, I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it or anything. It's kind of a head scratcher for me personally why we're getting that, but
yeah, it is.
It's good,
It looks like we said we were going to do it. We'll say we're doing it. We'll throw some money at it. I'm really intrigued by the Ahsoka World Between Worlds feel and the Veil of Force. I mean, that's going to be very interesting, and I know to do it right, they're going to have George as part of that. They're going to have to.
Yeah.
Where it's going to come out stupid, but as far as where it's pointing to, if you can find me a show with Rey in it, Kyle Ron, Poe, Finn, Admiral, I hate men, Holdo, or whatever. Tell me, because they're not listed. No, there's nothing listed.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the sequel trilogy is dead. And this is what I think is happening, is I think they're going to write it out and no one's going to notice.
It's telltale.
Unless you're looking. And I really, really think if you see Luke show up, that you're going to get a big, that sequel trilogy is gone. I'd love to see him show up with the Padawan girl with red hair. Named, this is Mara.
Wow.
Not his girlfriend, his acolyte, his kid, his apprentice. I think that would be really cool. Then you could actually introduce her, and a lot of people love her for that character. But when I you go through the Heir to the Empire, the whole trilogy. You get into the book where she shows up, and all of a sudden they're macking out on each other. It's like, that's kind of shoehorned. That's kind of forced.
Mm-hmm.
And a romance needs to be organic. It needs to like be natural, and I didn't feel like that was natural at all. But to see him take her in as his apprentice would be interesting. And who knows? That's just me being a fan, and what you're thinking.
Sure.
But, if they're looking for a Jedi, the only real Jedi that could actually do anything with Grogu is Luke. I mean, Ezra. Oh God, Ezra. I can't stand him.
Me either.
What's he gonna do with the baby Yoda? Then we got Cal Kestis, and it's like, why? Luke is really the only one, because he's had such a deep relationship with Yoda himself, that would understand the species. And understand what he was dealing with. I really think that, because Luke at the time would be the Grand Master Jedi anyway. So he would be the one to say, with the power, with the talent enough and power enough to say, okay, Grogu, come with me. But we'll see. I mean, if it's anybody but him, I'm gonna go, God Almighty.
Well, yeah, I guess I just hope we see soon. I hope we at least get something like that. I know it's because of the way modern quote unquote. I know it's not necessarily television, but the way modern narratives are on television, it'll be the last second, whatever we get, if we get some kind of glimpse, and then it'll say you have to wait.
Yeah.
But
but even just seeing a flash of blue eyes, it's like, Luke, and everyone's like, ah. But I really do want to see Han and Boba Fett kind of bear the hatchet, standing in the sand somewhere, and basically, Boba Fett saying, I bear you no ill will, you or your family no ill will. And Han saying, you better hope you don't, and just doing the cautious kind of with each other. I'd love to see that, because in the EU they had such a thing back and forth. And in the original, in the Han Solo original story, Boba Fett hunted him on and off for years, and Han would just disappear. He'd go to the corporate sector, he'd go somewhere else, and Fett would be, then he'd go to the secondary person. So, but that was, and here's another thing that people missed. When he showed his chain code, that was EU. That was from the EU. That wasn't from something that Disney pulled out of its ass. That was the EU.
Yeah.
And so I have really good hopes. But I want to show you guys something. I don't know if everybody knows this, but Hasbro put out an interesting character from the games, introducing. Gotta get some more light.
Hey, James Caserta, thanks for popping in, and my great old buddy Steve Mitchum. Hey, buddy, thanks for popping in, man. Good to see you.
Darth Nihilus.
Oh my goodness. Let's see if we're gonna get you get a big shot of that there. Look at that.
He's kind of dressed like you can't really see, but he's dressed like Darth Maul, but got him.
Cool.
There's a bunch more. I've got a ton of these guys.
Nice.
The Count Dooku is a really good sculpt. And I've got both Revans. I've got the new Solo, Endor Leia. Oh God, have you ever seen the Jaina Solo? All right, here she is. Come here, Chica. I got her standing up with her dad. Here she is.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yep. So
Wow.
yeah, she's her magenta lightsaber. I like collecting these guys. You know, my niece, who's kind of a Star Wars fan, didn't know who she was. I'm like, well, she'd make Ray cry in her. She'd make Ray
Absolutely.
piss her pants. Is what
Absolutely.
she would. I
She's
mean,
amazing.
yeah, you know. So
Those are damn cool.
oh yeah, if you can hear someone yelling, it's my
Mhm.
husband yelling at my dog right now.
No, I got you. No problem. Oh
No, we're
man.
gonna get a lot of snow on Wednesday, so I'm gonna have good video of him romping through the snow.
Nice.
Because he was looking
Nice.
around to be like, what is all this? And I'm like, oh, you just wait. You just wait. You're going to freak out, dog. He's gonna, yeah, you know,
Things to chew on.
yeah.
If he can reach
Well, what he'll do is he'll bound around, try to jump up and down, you know, like how they pounce, and then he'll roll and he'll make dog snow angels.
Oh,
Which,
cool.
you know, yeah, it's really cute. I mean, it's like it's
nice.
the funniest thing. It really is. But so nice. Yeah, there's I mean, going back to Star Wars, there's a lot going on and there's nothing going on. You know?
Yeah.
Which is too bad. And we gotta wait till the last episode to see where Mandalorian is going. But yeah, it's really the only thing Star Wars has that's going on right now that's good.
Yes, of the big three franchises, it's in the best shape of the big ones of the trinity of Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who. It's the only one that's not, because of the Mandalorian, it's not in complete ruins like those other two. So
yeah,
I'll give it that. You know, on this thing with people not liking it or whatever, I don't care if someone doesn't like it. If you are as critical of it, just don't go after anybody else that does, and that's fine with me. Because some people don't like it, and they honestly, or they like it but are critical, and there's nothing wrong with any of that to me. Just, as long as you're, it's an honest opinion. And you're not trashing anybody.
It is, and it's my thing is I've seen people really go hard.
Yeah,
and
that's not good.
You know, it's a good show, and you know, it's not the EU. I'm not an EU purist, by the way. I like it. There's great stuff with it, but I don't like Chewie dying the way he did. I don't like Anakin. I don't like Anakin Solo dying the way he did.
Yeah.
Because that didn't make any sense. Why did Chewie die then? I mean, what was Chewie's sacrifice for? There were other things I didn't like. There was stuff in the Solo trilogy. I was like, why are you putting that in there? That's stupid. Mm-hmm. But you know, there was enough good in it to make me go. This is where you start. And Star Wars got screwed up when they decided to not do it to just wipe the slate clean. My favorite Kennedy thing is, well, there wasn't any original stuff to work from.
Yeah. Wow, that was one of her finer moments, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then she goes, well, we have to go back. You know, there's 25,000 years of Star Wars lore in George, and I'm like, oh, really? Did you just say that? Really? Oh my God. 2 years. Let's reel back and see what you said 2 years ago. Crazy.
She's just a loathsome creature. I'm sorry. I can't stand her.
I know she is. And I gotta tell you, man, I think that she, first off, she hates Mark Hamill. She hates him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can tell she hates him. There's a story out there that Mark went to Bob Iger and complained about her calling him and screaming at him after TLJ came out.
Oh, for being critical, slightly critical.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't even slightly critical. He was like, "This sucks," and I don't know how he doesn't have an off button at all. And you know, I'm like going, really? So she hates Mark, and I think that she isn't really happy with Ford either. It's not because he's a big, big alpha male white man. I think I got a theory about her and him.
Mm-hmm. Hail Echo Base, by the way. Hey,
Hello,
Echo Base. All right, I'm honored
Echo
to see you here,
Base
my
Network.
friends.
Hey, hi guys.
Awesome channel, everyone. If you haven't subscribed to Echo Base, please. And also, if you have not subscribed to my wonderful guest channel yet, there's a link in the chat you can find there, and please do so.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna repair downstairs because I can do that.
Okay, doke.
Anyway, no, but I think there's something going on there with her and Ford. I think it was not. It's gonna be dark in here because I got the lights off, except for the Christmas lights.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that she tried something and he said no, or he rejected her. That's what I think. I mean, I'm just saying that because I'm a catty woman and I try to figure out why women hate. Why she would, because she hates him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like everybody can see it. I can see it. So why would she? I'm in my PJs, by the way. I'm sorry. But why would she? God, my hair looks like shit. Holy crap. Why? Oh God. Let's go back.
What happened? Thank you, by the way, Chris Persia, Master of the Wrenches. He said just subbed to Stephanie's channel.
Hey, Chris, thank you for the sub, man.
He's a great fella. He is one of my best pals here on YouTube. He's been really good to me. Chris, you're the man. Thank you.
Awesome. My channel's been having a little trouble lately because I can't keep. I really can't keep a lot of subs. They're taking subs away from me.
Oh wow!
And they're just. I'm not getting the views I used to get. And I think it's just YouTube screwing around. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so
yeah, they do that.
Yeah, well, they're dickheads. So anyway,
They are indeed.
Anyway, it's one of those things. We're like in a lull. There's nothing going on. I really think that a lot of people are trying to find stuff to talk about. So, and that's part of the problem. They mac on executive producer, meaningless position. They mac on president of the company, and I'm like, well, what does that mean really? What does that mean right now? All right. These are the things I ask, and these are the things people don't ask. What does this mean? Why? What I see just looking at it, and I'm trying to be like a counterintelligence person, is there's definitely an infighting going on, even without knowing there is. There's definitely shows that she doesn't have anything to do with, and it's anything Faro touched, because I know for sure he hates her guts. And if you don't believe it, go back and watch the behind-the-scenes stuff with Mandalorian and watch him shut her down. That's fine, Kathleen.
I believe it. Kip Ellis, thanks for popping in, buddy.
Oh, all right. So.
Wow. No, I believe you on that. Absolutely. Mark C.
I watched that.
What's that?
Mark, I'm going to talk about this. I think it's really interesting. When he went, this is a theory of mine. I'm just going to put it out there. It's public.
Sure.
He'd probably shoot me for gossiping if he knew who I was. I really think that when he took the job to play Han Solo, his wife at the time told him, no, don't do it. He did it anyway. I think that she didn't support him on that. He was there by himself. From what I gathered, the apartment was just that they rented for him was like, I wouldn't let my dog sleep in there. You know what I'm saying? From what I've read. Carrie was this crazy, beautiful person. And I really think he cared about her. I really, really do. The whole way that this started, she didn't even know he liked her. That's how close he is. they were at George's surprise party, and she was drinking wine, and of course, she's like what 5 feet tall, weighed 80 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
and half a glass of wine. She's like, but the crew is trying to get her drunk and then take her into another room. And this is from her book, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, you hear this baritone go across the room, going, "Hey, where are you taking her?" And it's Harry. And suddenly he's in the middle of a thing. He's grabbing her. He's whisking her away. And they're out of there. He probably saved her.
Wow.
Think about it. And that's from her book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's not that he made the rounds, because he never came off like a ladies' man like a lot of actors do, like, you know, Clint Eastwood or even John Wayne or Steve McQueen or any of those guys, or William Holden. More like William Holden, who didn't have an affair just to have one.
Yeah.
He really loved Audrey Hepburn. He was it's hard to explain, but I really think that when Harrison is in a relationship with somebody, and it's whatever, like Melissa was very important to him. All right, not gonna lie to you. They had met in 78. 79, they're making The Empire Strikes Back. Peter Mayhew's going, saying Ford and Fisher should have just gotten a room together. You know, I mean, all the stuff I heard from that. And of course, that stuff never made it to her book. Okay. I think that affair went into at least Empire Strikes Back. But he already met Melissa. So there's the indecision there. By 1980, when they were filming Indy, it was pretty much Melissa. So you got Kennedy showing up, and he's not gonna do anything with her. First off, if you look at her, she's not his type. Second of all, he's with a woman he really loved, and he really loved Melissa. And it's like, good luck, Kathleen.
Yeah.
Go with God. So if there was any sexual rejection there, and her having the ego the size of, the asteroid belt between, Mars and us, I can see her holding onto a grudge. I can see her being pissed off. I can see her not being happy with him. The funny thing about it is, what I really love about Ford and Fisher is that they were friends their whole lives. There wasn't like this horrible, awful breakup. In fact, I've got a picture of, she used to vacation with him and his family. Sabrina. Oh yeah.
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 And then Ford did the remake, like Mark mentioned.
Yeah. And
that's right, man.
That was, but yeah, they used to vacation together. So, there wasn't any. He was just so awful to her. She never talked to him. Oh yeah, she did. And if you read the book, she loved him. She really, really did. And I think, when I think about it, because he's never really said much, he made a statement about her and everything, but I think he really cared about her too. But it was one of those things where she was so that he needed someone a little more stable. That's my theory. Yeah.
He did indeed, didn't he? You can't argue with that, sir.
He's of that. Oh, that's my Korean washing machine.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you for that.
Nice. Almost Christmas.
He's of the generation. They call them the traditionalists, and they were the first hippies. If you go back, and this is really funny, go look up Harrison Ford and the Doors, and he was actually a roadie for them for a week. And there's some great video.
Wow.
You see Jim Morrison standing with a bunch of people, and so you see this guy in a shirt walking through, and he looks at the camera. It's like, holy shit, it's Harrison Ford. It's like, oh my God. And then you see another one, a longer one, where you see a guy in a mirror, the shot where you see this and this, see a guy in the mirror, and all of a sudden you hear the cameraman going, Harry, you're at my shot. And he looks around and gets on.
Wow.
It's really
nice.
funny. It's back in the 60s when they were all young, but they were older than the people who thought they were really hippies, you know?
Yeah.
It's really just, it's one of those things that's really, really funny, but y'all realize that Spielberg, Ford, and Lucas, he's the oldest one by a couple of years. And he was always, he reminds me a lot of my oldest brother who passed away, who was would have been a year younger. Billy was very calm. Billy was into Native American spirituality. Whatever floats your boat, like my friend, whatever floats your boat. He would spend time in the deserts in Nevada and Utah. He was up close and personal with peyote, if you know what peyote is.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But, you know, that's who he reminds me of. I am very laid back. And the last time we saw my brother, because I didn't get to see him, I wanted him to give me away at our wedding, and he was too sick to come. But it was at the Reagan Building in downtown D.C. at a restaurant. We sat and talked, and this guy's a liberal, the Democrat. And he looked at me straight faced and said, the state of California needs to be divided into 6. That's the Democrat brother saying that. So he was, they lean more libertarian.
Right.
Those older guys, the guys that started the movement, they lean libertarian.
Yeah.
You got the younger ones who they're boomers, but they're baby boomers. They're not like that. They're very kind of rigid in their thinking. And I always thought that, you know, hippies were never rigid, and these guys are. So, you know, you see some older baby boomer celebrity, like I'm gonna say Mark Hamill, saying something, it's like, whatever, dude. You know, you're not cool. Because I grew up with people that age. Okay, my oldest brother, there's a generation between him and I. So I understand all of it. And the people between him and I, that shit crazy on steroids. And I'm not kidding. And that's what you get now from them.
Yeah.
But you know, I look at him and I think he's one of those guys that's a real mystery. Because he doesn't really do in-depth interviews. You know, they'll ask him, what kind of dog would you want to be? He's like, a chocolate lab. I'm like, okay. But that's kind of stuff. It's not, you know, no one asks him about Callista or anybody else.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, okay, I'm whatever. Very interesting guy. I wish he felt better about his role and stuff, because that's really disappointing to me.
That does disappoint me. I mean, I still always love the character though, and then I'll always I love Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah,
so I love him for that. You know, and a great actor.
Yeah.
A legend.
I mean, he is. I mean, oh, here's a question. Off topic. Have you seen Fat Man?
I'm not yet. I don't know what platform it's available on, but I want to.
It's on demand. It's so good. I can't even.
I got to see that.
It's like, dude, you guys.
I got to see that.
When Mel Gibson starts going off on participation trophies, you know, it was so great. I can't even. I mean, you're gonna love it.
I can't wait to see it.
I don't know anybody who's seen it that didn't love it. And at the very end, oh my God.
I wonder if that's on Amazon yet or something like that. I got to find it if I can.
I think it might be, but it's on, we've got I think we got Verizon here, and it's on demand here because I bought it. I bought it without seeing
Okay.
it. And,
Well, I will definitely watch it as soon as possible. Oh, sorry, that
yeah.
was Mark. I don't know if you want to see what he was just talking about Hamill.
Yeah. Let me see. All right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a good one, Mark.
Good one,
I mean,
bud.
hey,
That's exactly
you know,
right. Hypocritical.
it's hypocritical, and he doesn't get it. His brother, you're gonna love this. I have one of my Facebook friends is his brother, who's a real estate agent in Dallas, and they look exactly alike.
Really?
And I'm pretty sure they don't agree on anything. I can't imagine what that Thanksgiving would be like.
Wow. So it's like the Howard brothers. I love Clint Howard, by the way. He's
Oh yeah. Well, Clint Howard is great.
I love that dude.
But what's funny is that when you sit down and talk to those guys, there's really not a whole lot you disagree with, and then they find out that this is the way you vote, and then they're like, and I'm not even a Republican. I'm an unaffiliated voter. I mean, I walked away from when we moved here and I had to choose what party. I said unaffiliated because I told our congressman, who's a friend of ours, I said I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Fix it. It's got to be fixed.
I have in my state. You have to be registered in a party to vote in a primary of that party.
Yeah,
it's different in some places.
We do too. And so far, they tried to primary our congressman before I think we moved here. Yeah. And it was a bad thing. It failed miserably. He kicked his opponent's ass so hard. I think they called an emergency. I think FEMA showed up in the election this year. I mean, it was like he won by 70 points or 70%. I mean, it's like, we're in a very red pro-Trump district. I mean, county. And I'm like, can we sue Philadelphia?
I have some buddies in Philly that would love that.
Oh, no, seriously. I mean, they disenfranchised the whole state. And it's like, we all need to talk here. Come here to Good Old Boy Central. We'll have a conversation.
Oh, Mark C. I'll put that up there, but I know it's dangerous. No, it's not. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I talk about her all the time.
I've heard you talk about it on videos, even, right?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, what the hell? I don't care either.
If he wants to be, Mr. Judgmental, which leftists are always judgmental, then I'll bring up the kid.
Yeah, he's a hypocrite.
But how's your granddaughter? Because it's really interesting. You see Harrison Ford embracing his grandkids. There's pictures of him with one of his grandsons on his shoulders. Riding his, I mean, that's what Grandpa does.
Yeah.
And,
I just, no, go ahead. I just, I don't care what anyone's politics are as long as if they can learn how to be nice, be cool about stuff, don't alienate people, things like that. I wouldn't give a crap. Of course, Hamill doesn't understand that because he's a child. But
yeah.
I really don't. I mean, I'm fans of a lot of people who I know. I kind of know what their politics are, and I almost never do politics on the channel at all. I do geek stuff. I'm into politics, but in a personal way. But it intercedes, as you know, it intersects sometimes with the SJW movement and things like that. But if anyone, I don't care what their opinions are. If they're a nice person and they're not insulting and alienating people in the audience, and there are a few of those, but as we know, Hamill and many like him are not.
Yeah, you've got Rob Reiner, Mark Hamill, Mark Ruffalo, whom I hate.
Which one again?
Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, he's Ruffalo. So,
Robert
Chris Evans.
That redhead. What's her face? The one that. Shit. Not Kathy Griffin, the other one.
Oh, it's another one.
Yeah, and I can't think of her name, but my friend Lee mocks her all the time. She was in that Will and Grace show.
Oh yeah, that's I know who you're talking about, but the name escapes me. She's a nothing now.
She's a nobody. I mean, yeah. When that show came out, everyone's like, she's the next Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball's up in Valhalla going, "You wish, honey."
Yeah, exactly. Lucille Ball.
I
love Lucy, literally, and the show. Because of course she gave us Star Trek, so I love her for that. So there you go.
Oh yeah, well, Star Trek. If you're into musicals and you haven't seen her version of Mame, do it. My mom loved it, and I hadn't seen it in years. And a friend of mine, whose name shall be
there you go, Deborah
Messing. Redacted. Deborah Messing. God.
Yeah.
She did a version of Mame.
Right.
And it's a very, very good movie. She was beautiful in it. And I suggest if you're into musicals to see it because it's great.
Yeah.
And I am and I'm not. There are very few that I get into. But that's one I do because it's fun to see her not playing Lucy.
Yeah.
And she did a lot of that before in the early 40s when she was a young starlet.
Yep.
And she was. It's hard to believe she ended up with Desi Arnaz. Let's just put it that way. I can't.
She was even in Room Service with the Marx Brothers, which was not one of their better films, but yes.
Yeah.
But I love her. Again, when you talk about those old wonderful celebrities, John Wayne was very upfront about his politics, but he didn't hate people and he didn't cast people out. He embraced them. He didn't hate people he disagreed with and didn't treat people badly.
Well, he was a real man. He was a real alpha male. Here's a great story about him. At a bar, at a party somewhere, and Frank Sinatra is getting uppity at him, and he tries to throw a punch at John Wayne. I mean, Frank Sinatra.
Oh boy.
It'd have been dwarf tossing at that point. John Wayne picks him up, sets him on the bar, and hands him a beer and says, "Here, have a beer, Frank."
Wow.
I mean, that is John Wayne in a nutshell. That is an alpha male. I don't have to throw a punch. I just have to make you look really, really stupid. Make you feel really, really weak, and he did. My favorite in the whole Rat Pack is Dean Martin.
I love him. So it was great.
I mean, I'm Facebook friends with his daughter, Dina, who's got a great Christmas album out there. Look for Dina Martin. It's great.
Wow.
She's a great singer. There's a great Legends and something on YouTube from NBC, and it's about Dean Martin. He got married to his wife Jeannie, and their firstborn son was Dean Paul. If Dean Paul had been an actor, everybody would have been going, "Who was that?" I mean, you name the big time actor in the 70s and whatever. He was gorgeous. He was. I mean, he looked just like his mom, but he had his father's bone structure. Tall, blonde, blue-eyed. Oh my God! He died in an airplane crash in 1980.
Oh my!
He was an F-4 pilot for the Air National Guard in California. Met weather, crashed, and that it literally killed.
Oh yeah!
It killed him. But it's a great show. You realize how hard those guys struggled, and it wasn't easy for them. And it wasn't easy for Dean Martin. And he was a very quiet, really private guy. I think the only person in the whole world that really knew him in any way was his wife, Jean.
Mm-hmm.
And it was. So, yeah, it's a good show. I'll try to send you a link to it in private.
Cool. Eric K. My parents had drinks with John Wayne at the John Wayne Airport. How cool is that? It doesn't get much cooler than that, my friend.
Oh God, Eric,
that's amazing, dude. Wow, love that man.
I would have been going, but I'm like that. I'm shy.
I love Big Jake also, Mark C. God, I love that movie. Big Jake is underrated in my opinion.
Oh, Big Jake was great. You know, I mean, what are the favorites? I mean, John Wayne has so many. My favorite, my personal one, is The Quiet Man with Maureen O'Hara.
That's probably my favorite. My favorite, if I don't know, man, Searchers, Red River, but yeah. Maybe probably Quiet Man.
Yeah, I mean, when
Real
he's
Bravo
dragging her back home.
No, that's one of the. That's
and then,
just.
And then the lady gives him a shillelagh.
Oh,
a shillelagh. Here's a big stick to beat your wife with, and he goes, "Thanks."
Like, greatest fist fight in cinema history.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I just put it against anything. And there was a really great one with Roddy Piper and that was at Keith David and They Live. That was pretty bad. But Quiet Man's got them all beat, I think.
With Quiet Man. I mean, if you think about it, it had the cast, it had the director, John Ford. It was based on a short story, I think, that showed up in a newspaper that Ford had read years ago. And he's like, I got to make this into a movie. And that's what he did. I mean, but back in those days, newspapers just didn't print the news. They printed things that were culturally important, like short stories, poems, because people actually had brains and wanted to read back then. And so that's what that story's based on, is a short story found in a newspaper. So I watch it every St. Patrick's Day.
It's great. I didn't see that. I haven't watched that in a while. I gotta watch it.
Oh yeah.
Real Bravo, of course, is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Dean Martin.
Oh yeah. The Searchers.
Which,
if you look at the opening scene in Mandalorian, and you see him standing in the doorway. That is the same shot that they used in The Searchers. And by the way, you didn't know this, did you? Who's under the suit? It's not Pedro Pascal.
Who's under the suit in Mandalorian?
Yep.
I do not know.
Ethan Wayne.
Oh, you were kidding me. And that just that scene, you mean, or
no, all of them. When you see
wow.
We'll watch him walk, and you'll see he walks the way the Duke did. And it's like, I started noticing that after I found out, and I'm like, oh my God, this is an homage.
Wow.
And it's great because it's awesome.
That is great. Man, that's amazing.
Yep.
Glad I know that now. That's incredible.
Yeah. So he's not, Pedro Pascal is not always in the suit. It's a lot of it is Ethan Wayne. I think his name's Ethan. Yeah. So so when you see him walking, you see that kind of saunter. That's Ethan Wayne, because I know Pedro Pascal couldn't do it.
Mark C says John Wayne made 13 movies in his last 10 years. He did it all 13 with one lung from a previous bout with cancer. And Mark, I'm so old. I actually got to see John Wayne movies in the theater, and I'll never forget going to see The Cowboys. It's maybe not his greatest film or anything, but I really did love it, and getting to go see that as a kid. I mean, just wow. I still love that movie. The two cop movies he did was at McHugh and Brannigan. They weren't all that great, but it was still John Wayne. So what are you going to do? The Shootist was okay, but it had Richard Boone in it, whom I love as well. So
and Jimmy Stewart.
God.
Here's another John Wayne story. Ronald Reagan won his election to governor. I think it was 68. First one, or maybe it was the second time he was elected. And John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart are going into the party, and there are a bunch of hippies standing around, and one of them has North Vietnamese flag. And side story, it had just been reported that Jimmy Stewart's son had been killed in Vietnam. So that was a really great thing for Jimmy Stewart. So John Wayne walks into the crowd, disappears, the flag disappears, he comes back, and there you go.
It's amazing. Wow, it's funny. The two another thing about the Shootist is not as cool as that story, but the last two guys John Wayne killed on film were two great Western actors, Hugh O'Brien and Richard Boone.
Yep.
I love Richard. Have Gun Will Travel, in my opinion, is the greatest Western TV show of all time. I'll take on anyone on that one. Paladin rules, and he was good buddies with John Wayne. And Hugh O'Brien, of course, played Wyatt Earp on the old TV series of the 50s and 60s. I'm a freak for 50s and 60s TV westerns.
Oh, I grew up on Gunsmoke, so you know.
And, yep.
Here's a Harrison Ford piece.
He was on that, wasn't he?
Yes, he was twice.
Yeah. Oh, twice! Wow.
And he was in Kung Fu too.
Oh yeah. I did not know that till fairly recently. But man, I wish I could remember the episode. I like that show.
I do too, but I found the episode he was in on Gunsmoke on YouTube.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, he played a shithead, and you could see that he was him.
Oh man, this show lasted 20 years, and so you said it was on 2 of them, huh? Wow.
Yeah, 2 episodes of Gunsmoke. There's another show he was in. I had to go get my power cord. God, I mean, there were other westerns I think he was in.
I think he was on Petrocelli. There was an old TV show that didn't last that long.
Yeah. I mean, he was a contract actor, so they get him a role, and he'd have to do it.
Yeah.
So, and then my favorite thing was one of the studio heads told him he'd never be a star. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they know everything.
Yeah. They could. Yeah, they do. And all it did was take George Lucas to go, the guy reading all these lines really actually does do Han Solo quite well. I think I'll probably hire him.
Yeah, I mean, I love me Christopher Walken, but I'm glad we got Han Solo. I'm Harrison Ford.
God, the people that, oh my God, they actually offered it. Get ready, to Al Pacino.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I mean, I know he was younger, but wow.
Why? Why? It doesn't. And he was like, it was weird, so I didn't want to take it. And I was like, no, it's not weird. You'd be weird in that role. So no.
That is.
Yeah.
Actually, Richard Boone was the bad, not Pat Boone and Big Jake Buddy, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. And here's another one. Sylvester Stallone actually read for the role of Han Solo.
Oh my God! Oh, yeah. Like
he was on the Tonight Show talking about it.
Wow.
A couple years ago, and Jimmy Fallon's like this.
She's fast enough for you, old man.
Yeah. It's like, he's like, no. I mean, he walked in and he said Lucas and De Palma are like, oh my God, get out of here.
And I love me some Kurt Russell, but yeah, I'm glad it went the way it did. But Kurt Russell, I mean, William Catt. Well, William Catt made his mark. No, not quite, but Greatest American Hero was fun.
Well, yeah, I think Billy, what's his face, also tried.
Billy, which one?
No, I can't remember. It's another one of those blonde, curly-haired dudes that were like 2.
Oh.
He also tried out for the role of Luke Skywalker. And there were a couple of them, and it's like, kind of like, I don't know. And it's. I think when you're a casting director and the right guy walks in, you just know it is.
Yeah, there've been for example, some casting turkeys. As much as I love the film now, the 1980 Flash Gordon, Sam J. Jones wasn't an actor. In fact, he had to dub his lines and the thing. I love the movie. I love Flash Gordon. Just saying, there are so many great actors in that film. And, he was pissed off that they dubbed his lines. But now, when I see him now in interviews and other stuff, he actually became a kind of a decent actor, kind of the old tough guy type. When he was in that film, he got picked because he was because Dino De Laurentiis' wife fell in love with him on The Dating Game. So some casting bombs and some is gold.
Well, think about this casting bomb. Alden Ehrenreich.
That will go down as my worst of all time, A Hobbit. I mean, even if the movie had sucked, if it had been Anthony Ingruber, I would have liked that part of it.
Yeah, at least it would have made sense.
Right.
But here's why. Ehrenreich's daddy does Spielberg's taxes, and Ehrenreich is really good friends with his daughter. Okay,
that's a good reason.
That's the reason why you should have the movie. That's the reason why you should play Han Solo. You know, and there's an interview with him on the red carpet, and he looks so trashed and stoned. And it's like, this movie's going to crash and burn, right? You couldn't carry his.
He didn't care.
I think that he was like, this movie sucks. I'm making an ass of myself. No, he's in something else now, but they're never going to make another Han Solo thing with him.
No. There are some people who like that thing for some reason. I've had people tell me they kind of like it. I said, well, that's, more power to you, but I can't even look at him. Nothing against him personally. I'm not talking that, but when I see him, he's supposed to be on a Solo. I can't take it. I did through it once, and that's all.
I got mad. I get mad.
Makes me angry.
I look at fuck.
I don't blame you.
Because it's simple. You don't cast Dash Rengar as Han Solo.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
that's exactly who should have been playing.
Right.
And then Pablo going, well, we wanted to go in a different direction for the character. Yeah, that worked out well, didn't it?
I have that. I have that documentary. And you're exactly right. It is pretty good there, Mark. Yeah. Samuel L. Jones is a good dude. I like him. I met him. He's, I just said back then he was kind of out of his league depth. And all those great actors in that movie, and he's like, I'm not an actor. What the hell? So
yeah. It's one of those things where, but yeah. Alden Ehrenreich is Han Solo.
Hey, that's got to be. There's some bad castings. About a number of years ago, forgot exactly. We did a topic, and we were just talking about your favorite comic book movies, but we were the worst castings of comic book movies, right? And there were some horrible ones. Yeah. And one day I'm going to expand that just to do worst castings of just period in general of movies, because it seems like those always have the worst because they're playing a character coming from another medium.
Yeah.
And you go,
and there's no thought behind it.
Except for Christopher Reeve, that was wonderful.
Oh God, Christopher Reeve.
I love that man.
I remember going to Superman 2 with my niece, and we came out like we were higher than kites. That's the way you should come out of a movie. Like that.
I love that.
That's the way you should come out. That's the way we came out of Star Wars. That's the way we came out of Return of the Jedi. As a million different freaking times that I saw it. Raiders of the Lost Ark. They knew how to make movies and make a positive impact. There were no politics. There's no that shit. They just made fun movies to uplift people. And now it's like, you're a bad person because you're white.
You're istrophobe.
Yeah, you istrophobe. You hate gay people. You hate what?
Right.
You're feminine. You're a misogynist. I'm a woman. The fuck can I be a misogynist?
They found a way.
That's internal misogyny. What?
Yeah. Oh, you hate yourself. I got you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. That's okay. That's rationalization right there.
Right.
God. And that's, you can't do that anymore. And this is why Hollywood fails. This is why the High Republic is going to fail. This is why the Star Wars sequel trilogy failed. I mean, and another bad casting.
Mm-hmm. Agreed, Mark. But you know how I feel about that. I went off on that the other night.
Whew. Another bad casting.
Mm-hmm.
What is his face? Kyle Ron.
Oh, Adam Driver. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be brutally honest.
Mm-hmm.
That guy looks like the parts God had left over from a crow, a bass, a bat, and a rat, and said, "There, proof."
Oh,
he's. I'm gonna mean it. It's gonna sound mean. He is ugly. He's ugly, right? There's absolutely no reason for him to be a big movie star. There's no reason for him to have any female followers, but they don't know what a real alpha male looks like, and when they do see one, they're scared of him.
No.
They don't. When Han is trying to kiss Leia on the Falcon, he's brutalizing her. It's like, no, he's not seducing her, you fucking idiot. And if she thought there was anything wrong with it, she wouldn't have fallen for it. By the way, she had as much power in the situation as he did. She could have said no, and he would have backed off.
Yeah.
Duh.
Absolutely.
But so yeah, Adam Driver. I mean, if Han and Leia are going to have a son, he's not going to look like that.
It's like the I Am Starfire thing. Exactly. Characters who come from
the Starfire thing.
Seen that, right? Oh, everyone. What are all those jokes? Yeah, she must have had a kid with the Penguin.
Yeah.
In the comics, he had it was Dick Grayson, and I'm pretty sure Dick Grayson and that alien orange girl who was fantastically gorgeous ain't making that. Call me Mr. Unscientific, but I'm just gonna. Yeah, I know it's a comic, but yeah.
I can't. I mean, when I was looking at that, I'm like, I think she just bagged my groceries.
Well, that woman projected herself into it.
Oh yeah, of course, but they all do that because it's all
awareness.
It's always about them.
Well, when it comes to these castings, when it's a character that comes from another medium, I love Christopher Reeve, but Superman was around 40 years before he came around. Other people can play it. James Bond was a literary character. Other people can play them to varying degrees. Yeah. I'm kind of fine with that. When it starts, when it comes to the Captain James C. Kirk or Spock, when it's Star Trek, those characters were co-created by their creators, their writers of the show, and the actors. Yeah. Chris Pine and that stupid Jar Jar Abrams filthy movie and that cast can go screw themselves. They are not the crew of the Enterprise. They never will be. No one else could ever be Han Solo for me. The adult Han Solo, or the adult Indiana Jones, the adult Luke Skywalker, or you name. Just me personally, that kind of recasting is different from like a character that came from comics or books like Sherlock Holmes. It's different.
It's not like they went back 2 years later and then said, we're going to make another Star Wars movie, and the actors were unavailable, so they had to hire somebody else to do it. I mean, people, my personal favorite James Bond is always going to be Sean Connery. God bless his soul.
Me too.
But Roger Moore wasn't bad.
Yeah, I love him.
Bad. Pierce Brosnan, I thought, did a fairly good job. I liked him a lot. But Sean Connery, to me, is always going to be James Bond because that's who James Bond was. But again, those are literary characters. Han Solo
started in a film. Harrison Ford helped create the character.
Yeah, and no one has played him except for Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah,
and he just proved what a shitty job that he did. That they did casting. This is how far Hollywood has fallen. You can't find an alpha male to play another alpha male character. It's not like they can act like an alpha male. Steve McQueen couldn't act like an alpha male. He was.
Yeah, I love one of my favorites. I love that guy.
Clint Eastwood is an alpha male. John Wayne, alpha male. William Holden, my favorite of the golden era. Oh, what a hunk. Alpha male. Harrison Ford, alpha male. Alden Ehrenreich. My dog is a big. My dog is on him. It's like, get this, the video that they had out. I loved it. It was before the movie came out. Ehrenreich is sitting in the chair with this look of, I'm going to die, look on his face. I mean, he looked like a deer caught in headlights. See Ford walk up to him, and he walks up and he comes up behind him. He goes, "You're sitting in my chair." And it's like, holy shit. Yeah, sitting in his chair, took his role, fucked it up. And I gotta say this, as much as Harry has a problem with Han, I'm sure they had to piss him off.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they had to go. Couldn't you at least give him lift so he look at least taller than he is? Han should always be half a head taller than Luke. That's just my opinion. He should be, because of Harrison Ford. Second of all, there should be a very loose, kind of lanky athleticism about him. There should also be an authentic masculinity that Alden Ehrenreich couldn't achieve if someone shoved uh, electrodes and testosterone darts in his ass for 30 years. I mean, you just don't do it. It is
Soy boy.
But it's not just born. It's bred and nurtured. And you can tell the guys who grew up with fathers and mothers who raised them right, compared to the boys who are like, I mean, I'm Alden Ehrenreich. I mean, I drink this green thing with like kale in it because it's really good for you. When I read that article, I'm like, go away. Go away. I want to see you eating a pork raw. You know? I mean, yeah, I mean, you could, I can't imagine him poking, chewing the ribs, going and growling something like, saying something like, hey, Cherry, come on. I mean, the guy's voice can't drop below a high C. He doesn't have a baritone. I mean, that's the thing about Harrison Ford. It's not just the way he looks. It's not the way he moved. It's not his attitude. It's his voice. It's and they all those actors I mentioned have that. Christopher Reeve had that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and I can't think of an actor, even the ones that are actually halfway decent, like Matt McConaughey, that actually, have that. They're comfortable in their own skin, like men should be.
Not a lot of that now. That's for younger or the relatively younger actors now.
Who was the actor in Blade Runner 2049?
Oh, Ryan Gosling or whatever. I'm done with Gosling. I just call him Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Good actor.
Yeah, I guess he's good enough actor.
He did an okay job, but I didn't get the oomph.
No.
There's no va-va-voom for a girl. It's like,
I don't get that from Chris Pine either. Not just because I'm prejudiced, but I hate him being cast as Kirk boy, little dumb frat boy Kirk. In the Wonder Woman film, I mean, he was okay in it. He was a little bit more of a kind of a guy, I guess. But I still look at his face. I'm like, dude, you ain't no McQueen, man. You ain't no.
Yeah, I don't like him. The only movie I ever saw him in that I liked is a movie called Bottle Shock. Mm-hmm. And it's about the wine tasting in 1976 when America first beat the French. And he plays Bo Barrett, who owns Chateau Montelena in Marin County and Napa. Mm-hmm. And they won it. They won it with the Chardonnay. They have one of the best Cabernets on the planet. Oh my God, it's so good. You can't even. Oh, it's good. But in their Chardonnays, I mean, they did it 20 years later. They had another blind taste test in Paris, and they kicked the French ass again. All right. So one thing about California, you can say what a shithole it is, but God, they make some good wine. He played Bo Barrett in it. And when I watched it, the way they had the wig on, because I know he wasn't his hair. I'm like, it's my brother circa 1972. My oldest brother, Bill. I'm like, holy shit. And it's a really good movie because of what it's about.
Yeah.
And you got to see it. I mean, if you're, it's a little film. It's a lot of fun. Bill Pullman plays his dad, and he's great. I mean, he's really good in the movie. Mm-hmm. I'm not kidding. But it's early, like 75. The Jaws time. So they have the costumes right, and the way the women have their hair right.
Oh, cool.
And I'm just laughing about that. But that's the only movie I've ever seen Chris Pine in that was good.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, he doesn't really. I know he's in second fiddle to one of them, but he just needs to know Kirk. Then of course he never will be. And none of those guys. That Zachary Quinto is no Leonard Nimoy, of course.
Oh yeah, well that ad Quinto.
And he sucks.
Well, did you ever see the ad? Did you ever
Which
see
one?
It's the car ad.
Oh yeah, maybe look, that made me very angry. That's how I feel about. Star Trek is my dearest heart, and I love Nimoy so much that I was pretty angry with him when he did this film.
No, the ad.
I know, but that was when he did the ad that's connected to the film because Quinto's in it. it makes me insane. Like, it pisses me off a lot. That's how I
Well,
feel
I
about
thought the
it.
ad when he just does the Vulcan death grip and walks in,
Yeah.
and it just goes like that. I laugh so hard, and he's singing a Hobbit song. I mean,
Bilbo Baggins song, yeah.
I use that in a video about Eldenreich.
No, I hear you. It's just a personal thing. That movie makes me, those Jar Jar filthy fake tracks make me mad.
Oh,
But you know how I am.
Jar Jar. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why he is so popular in Hollywood. Why he has what he has. He is not talented. He is not smart. I don't get it.
Maybe he has some of those street smarts or whatever, or he has a lot of connections. He was connected, from what I understand. Maybe that was part of it, but he can't direct, and he certainly can't tell a story, or he just doesn't get good writers. I mean, all he does is shake a camera around, give you lens flares, and almost every story he's ever done in any of these big tentpole films, it's about some jackoff wanting revenge for whatever. It's always the same crap.
Yeah,
he's a mystery. That I never watched Lost, but if you look into a lot of people who watch that, mystery box writing is what they call it, and he's even called it that.
Yeah, and it doesn't
go anywhere.
Work for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it just, I just can't. So it's one of those things where when you watch a movie of his, and you think of the directors that came before him, and I'm not talking about 70, 80 years ago. I'm talking about Lucas, Spielberg, De Palma, Coppola. John Hughes, all these guys, and it's like, how the hell did you get to where you've gotten? And it's because he was an acolyte of Spielberg's. He was an intern for him, and basically kissed his ass. And nepotism kills.
It absolutely does. And this is a guy that will go, and this is the thing I've always fundamentally had a serious problem with. He at least claimed to be a Star Wars fan. Let's just run past what you might think of him for that. He admitted, going into this film, he admitted he didn't like Star Trek, which is perfectly fine. Nobody has to like anything. But when someone tells me they don't like the subject matter, if I'm hiring, well, that's cool, but you're not directing this movie because you just said you got nothing for it. When Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan was made by, and I think Nicholas Meyer's a scumbag, but he's a good director, and Harv Bennett was a good dude. They did not know anything about Star Trek. Guess what they did when they got the job? They watched every episode, all of it, and studied it, and informed themselves. George Abrams didn't do that.
Well, the thing about it is I don't think he informed himself or understood Star Wars either, though.
Right, he just claimed to be a fan. It's like someone says, "Oh man, I love Star Wars."
It's like Claudia Gray. That's like Claudia Gray saying she's a fan.
It's
God. You're not a fan. You're a fan of taking something beautiful like Star Wars and turning it into some feminazi propaganda piece. Fuck off, you fat bitch. I mean, that's none of those people who work for the story group are fans. Pablo Hidalgo, he had a walk-on cameo in Revenge of the Sith. Did you know that?
No.
He did.
Really?
He played one of the aliens, but he was in it. Do you think he's a Star Wars fan? I don't.
I don't think so.
And my thing about him is I think that he was I think the guys that stayed after George left, who have really been part of Kennedy's cabal, I think they resented George a lot because he wouldn't listen to them. And it's like, unless you understand what he's trying to accomplish, I don't really think you need to be here. That's my opinion. But I would go, if you gave me Lucasfilm and said, you have 3 years to fix this, I think the only two people you'd see standing after I was done are Favreau and Filoni. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I would go completely Miranda Priestley on them, from The Devil Wears Prada. No, that's not a question. That's a statement, and explaining to them what Star Wars is about. And now you're fired. Bye. And absolutely. The idea of the story group freaking out. Oh, she's here, running around like a bunch of freaks.
I just don't understand the mentality that hires somebody to do a film that admits up front they don't care about the subject matter. Another one is, look, Zack Snyder, who I'm sorry, I'm not a fan. Now, he's a good dude, they say, even although as a big Watchmen fanatic, he kind of lied to us and said he was going to get the ending right about that thing and didn't. But when he got the job of Superman, I'm mad at Christopher Nolan for this. He picked him out and he said up front, I don't like him. And he started talking derisive about Superman. He trashed him. Then he made a movie that proved he hated him in Man of Steel. And he just showed no respect for the character. And I hate his DCEU. And again, I hear he's a good dude, and he's actually a good visual filmmaker. But he and David S. Goyer are bad writers, at least for that character. And again, if you say you don't respect the character, see, Richard Donner respected Superman in 1970 when he made the 1978 film. He threw out Mario Puzo's garbage script and did his own, and that's why that movie is great.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder said, we're going to make Superman dark, unfriendly. We're going to make it unkid. You're going to make a Superman movie that's not kid friendly. And it was disgusting. It's my Last Jedi of Superman. I mean, and I hate it that much. Sorry to go on about it, but I don't think you hire somebody if they don't have respect for the material.
And I agree with that. I mean, if you're going to hire somebody and they're not even intellectually curious about it, like, I mean, again, look at the Lucasfilm Story Group. None of these people are intellectually curious about what they're writing. You've got Daniel Jose Older talking about, in the book Last Shot, talking about Lando's package. And then he turns Han into a deadbeat dad, lying to Leia about, well, I don't know what I want to do, and I don't know if I can be a dad and everything. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. You know, Claudia Gray is the creator of Vice Admiral Gender Studies. You've got really? Justina Ireland wrote. She wrote one of the books, and then she's writing for the High Republic. She, in a lot of tweets, was for some reason in Billings, Montana, which I've been to Montana. If I could live there, I would. I love it there. I love that wide open sky, that country. You know, to me, it's that is what America's about. All she could do is bitch about how many white people she saw, and how much she hated them, and it's like, fuck you, you fucking bitch.
Hell yeah.
You know, and but they're all like that, and I'm gonna do a video tomorrow. I gotta find the tweets, but two of the authors, big name authors from the EU, totally trashed the sequel trilogy. One was Ken Johnson. I'm going to say Ken Johnson, but I'm not sure if that was the name. The other was my favorite author, Troy Denning.
That sounds familiar.
Who wrote Tatooine Ghost, among others. And Tatooine Ghost, if you haven't read it, read it. It's my favorite novel in the EU. Han and Leia go on a mission to Tatooine to find something that the Alliance desperately needs. And they go on an adventure, and she ends up with Shmi Skywalker's audio, video, visual journal.
Wow.
That he left for Anakin. So instead of Anakin reading it, it's Leia. And through the whole thing, you're intermittently being chased by sand people, stormtroopers, chasing some guy, got down, who's got this thing they need. Then you've got Shmi Skywalker's journal. And what's really great is Leia's doesn't want to have children because she doesn't want to perpetuate Skywalker line because she's worried about Vader.
Yeah.
And what happens is when she gets this journal, she's listening to it out of curiosity, and she's starting to see more about Han, or more about Anakin. And what's really interesting is she's meeting people who knew Anakin when he was a kid.
Wow. I want to read this one now.
And she's starting to realize that Anakin wasn't always a bad person. He wasn't always Vader. And the person that helps her through it the most is Han. I want to hear more. What did she say? Can you roll that back? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's the one that helped get through it. And by the end of it, she decides, I think that it's okay. Not ever. And Han says to her, nobody's born evil, sweetheart.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a great story. And
Wow.
it would be a great miniseries for Disney to do. I would do it digital animation, so you wouldn't have to go running around looking for actors to play the roles.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people would love it.
Wow.
Han taking off
Nice.
on a swoop bike, chasing this guy down. It's just because he used to be a swoop bike racer when he was a kid, so you could just say, "Oh, this is easy,"
Nice.
And, it's I'm not gonna tell you what happens. I'm not gonna tell you what they're looking for, but it's a good story. And I told Troy Denning in a tweet one time, it's got to be my favorite EU story. You did such a great job with them, and you really presented Han and Leia as a real pair, a couple that really cared about each other. And he said, that's exactly what I want to do. Thank you.
Nice.
And it was, so yeah, you got to read it. But when he went down and slammed the sequel trilogy, I was like, yes.
Good.
So, I don't know, maybe there's rumors going on among those guys who people are closer to the subject than we are about what's going on.
Well, it could be. Well, I hope so. I like hearing things like that.
Yeah.
Did you ever read the book Kenobi? Did you ever read that one?
I've got it. I haven't cracked it open yet. I've read a lot of them, but I haven't cracked that one open yet.
I listened to the audiobook on that one and enjoyed it pretty good. The guy doing the voice really does a good, I guess, Ewan McGregor, I guess. I thought that was a pretty good story. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this series and how are you going to fill, what are you going to do? Does interest me. I mean, I don't know where you're going to go with it, but, by the way, Latino Slant, my great friend, yo, Paulie, thank you for popping in, bud.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mark, hey, man. Just Joe 47. Yo, Jobber, good to see you, buddy. I hope we didn't trigger you. I hope we didn't trigger you too bad the other night with our big movie hate list, man. I hope you forgive Flash. Flash hopes you forgive him. We did a top 25 all-time most hated movies, not worst movies now. Because that's, like we always say, low-hanging fruit, because Planet Nine from Outer Space is bad, but I don't hate it. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Movies you cannot. I mean, you really hate them. Yeah. And we've done that many years before, and Jobber wanted us to redo that, and we did the other night. It took for 3.5 hours, but counting on that 25. We had a lot of fun.
Well, you start talking about the movie, and all of a sudden, it's 3 hours later. It's like,
yes. Well, 25 each, so,
It
was fun.
Movies I hate.
You got something you hate?
The entire Star Wars trilogy.
They made my list.
Yeah, they sure did make money.
No, they made my list, I said. Sorry.
But yeah. Oh, yeah, of course they made your list. There are just so many I got to think about it. But those three are like, and Solo. And there was a guy who's a YouTuber who kept begging me to see it. I'm like, I wouldn't see it if God told me I had to. I've seen enough of the parts. He said the story sucks. Shut up and leave me alone. I just no. There are some things you just know are bad. They don't even spark your curiosity. You're just like, kill it before it expands. Kill it before it divides. It's like, And that's pretty much me with Solo. I don't want my intellect to be insulted any more than it already has been.
Such watching beloved characters really run through the mud like that's horrible.
I mean, yeah, it's like and then Pablo and there's some going, why do you take it so personally? It's like, fuck you.
It is personal.
Yeah, it is personal, and you guys did this to fuck with us. You guys did this because you're assholes and you could, and you're bullies. By the way, that karmic debt, it's gonna come calling. And that's my thing is I fully expect someday to find out they all got fired, because again, as much as I hate Disney, I don't want to see Disney fail, but I also don't see them keeping people on that aren't making them money, and these assholes aren't making them any money. Again, the High Republic, why publish this? they canceled the Dr. Aphra comics. They're not even doing a Rise of Skywalker comic, which is like
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it.
So why are they doing the High Republic?
These people.
Doesn't Marvel have anything to say about that? Because there are comics, attached to it, and it's not like the publishing industry is doing well right now either. In fact, they're doing really bad right now.
Yes, well, they're pretty much dead.
Yeah, and it's like, so why are you doing this?
People like to destroy things that other people love. I've noticed. You ever see the film Fight Club?
I've seen parts of it. I'm not a big Brad Pitt fan, but
there's a scene in it though where the Ed Norton character, as you know, they punch each other a lot. Well, there's the Jared Leto character. Everyone kept calling him like he's. I mean, I'm not into guys, but he's beautiful, right? They kept calling him beautiful. Well, he gets in a fight. He gets in the ring with him, and he beats he beats him. After he's beaten him, he beats his face into an absolute pulp.
Yeah.
And everyone asks, "Why did you do that?" They asked him. He said, "I felt like destroying something beautiful."
Yeah, and
that is Ruins Johnson.
Yeah.
That is Pablo Hidalgo, and that they're destroying things they don't love, but they know a lot of people love it. It's spite. It's evil. These people are horrible.
Yeah, they are, and you're right, and you've actually called it right out there. And if you disagree with them, you're a racist, homophobe, Nazi, whatever. It's like,
yep.
You wouldn't know a Nazi if one came up and bit you on the ass. What the fuck are you talking about? I mean,
yep.
It's they're the kid in high school. There was always a kid in high school. He wasn't popular, but you know what I'm saying? And you'd all be talking about something and he'd come in and say something really shitty about it just to make everybody feel bad. That's them.
Yep.
Kick the sandcastle over, not because, and they're not the bully that did it. They're the brat, spoiled brat who just wanted to destroy it because he could.
Absolutely.
And that's what they are. I mean, but you know the background for Hidalgo, right?
Mm-mm.
His dad and mother were, I think his mother's Canadian, father's Argentinian, not Argentinian, Chilean. And he was born in Chile.
Mm-hmm.
And they escaped from Chile when Pinochet was running around. So he's a communist. He's raised as a communist. He's a red diaper baby.
There's a shocker.
So if he hates Luke and Han and all that normal rah-rah stuff, it's because he was raised to hate it. He's half white, or he's half like white, and then whatever, Chilean, whatever that, whatever kind of mix of that is. And, you see, so he's a red diaper baby is what he is.
Yeah.
And, just like, oh God, what's his face? Spicoli.
Oh, that idiot. Oh God, what's it?
Sean Penn.
Yeah, Sean Penn. What a piece of filth he is.
Sean Penn's father was on the Hollywood blacklist. He's a red diaper baby. All right.
Paulie says I was a theater nerd freak in high school. I know those people you're talking about. Yep.
Oh yeah. And it's like, so they gotta come up and say something shitty about it, or they hate on it because everybody else loves it. They like it too, but they don't want you to know that. They want to hate on it because you like it, and they want to hurt. It's like an attention-getting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyway, it's just really, it's a really weird, almost personality disorder.
I believe it is. I really believe it is.
Yeah,
people are sick.
It's a mental illness. It's like, if you don't like it, why do you work there? I mean, I asked him one time, if you don't like it, why do you work there? Mm-hmm. And he wouldn't answer the question. He just started laughing at me. I'm like, well, fuck you too.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know me on Twitter, I don't mince words. I wish they'd all come to Parlor, because then they can't escape.
Yeah.
They can't hide. They can't lock down their account. All they can do is block and mute, and that's it. And you can't complain if someone says, "Why don't you fuck yourself?" You can't. whine about it, and then they get banned. Parlor's like, those are fighting words, big deal.
Yep, James Caserta. If they can't win, nobody will. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They
just.
I mean, you crap all over something that millions of people love. Yeah. Why? Ruins Johnson. He is a filthy little. I'm sorry. I get really pissed off on thinking about that scumbag. I hate him. I don't hate anybody for real life, but I'm going to backtrack a little. I don't necessarily hate any individual because I can't do that in my heart, but I think I hate what he did, and I think he's a little piece of trash.
I can hate people. I have no problem doing that. I hate him. I hate Pablo. I hate Kathleen Kennedy. If I'm right about her issues with Harrison, I'm like, you fucking whore. You old fucking whore. You know, I mean,
right.
You know, why don't you try to be talented ones like Sherry Lansing? You know, I mean, you know, or one of those women who actually ran studios long before anybody heard your fucking name, bitch. You know, it's not like she's the first woman who ever ran a film studio, and that's the way they treat her. And it's like,
yeah.
No, she's not the first. She's really not the first. So anyway, all right, I gotta go because my voice is dying.
Well, I do appreciate you hanging out with me. I had a wonderful time. Steph, I just thank you, so everyone. If you have not subscribed yet to Steph's channel,
please do.
Please do. And it's a great channel. She does videos all the time with a lot of the latest Star Wars news.
Yeah.
Paulie, don't give it to hate. That leads to the dark side. I'm walking that line, buddy. Nah. And seriously, look, I honestly really don't hate him in that way. I don't know him personally. I can't hate anyone I don't know personally. I hate what he has done, and so I get a little hyperbolic about it, Paulie. But you're right, man. That's not the way I roll. But I'm not apologizing for it because he can go fuck himself.
I have the balance of the Force. I'm Darthena Revan.
I want to thank all my fantastic friends who popped in here tonight. The great Mark C. Mark, buddy, thank you for popping in. James Caserta, great to see you. Just Joe, 47. My fantastic pal, Latino Slant, buddy. Paulie, go. By the way, Paulie's channel and many other ones are in my description below. Please go. Oh, wrong link? I put the wrong link in there? Oh, my God. Man, I didn't know that. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. Well, it's Stephanie Janiczek's Smuggler's Cantina. If you could enter that, I thought I have it in my description below. Try that one.
Yeah.
Because if that's broke, I'll have to fix it. I'm so sorry about that, Steph.
That's all right.
Anyway, James Caserta, thank you for being here. Chris Persia, Master of the Wrenches, man, I appreciate it. And Eric K, if you're still driving, man, hey, don't take your hands off that wheel, but I appreciate you popping in, my very good friend who is always with us here. And anyone else, I got that old man's memory. If I'm forgetting anyone, I apologize. But I want to thank the amazing Stephanie Janiczek for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you so much, Steph. We must do it again soon.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We are heading out of here. Thanks to the great Stone Loki for my intro alto. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys. See you later.